Kassan, would you like to start?
Yes, I'll take a start. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance today. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Kassan Kalhara. I'm the National Welfare Officer for the Council of International Students Australia. Dinka is joining us today from Students Australia, and we have a guest speaker, Declam, today. It's good to see you all today joining us. I think we're going to start soon. We have a quick presentation from the Council of International Students Australia. I'm pretty sure most of you know about Council of International Students Australia. We'll wait for Dinka to start the slides presentation. So, as you all know, CISA is the national peak body for International Students Australia. CISA was founded in 2010. Exactly in 2 months, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. We've been a long way since 2010, and we have been helping students across the sector, across the country, especially the international students that we advocate for. As you all know, Council of International Students Australia is the peak body, and we are advocating for international students affairs. Especially, we cover a lot of aspects in CISA. We have different offices. We have a national undergraduate office for undergraduate students. We have a national postgraduate office for postgraduate students. We have a national WETTAFE office for WETTAFE students. So we cover all three sectors of international students in Australia. So we do lobbying the state government, the federal government, and all other stakeholders. Now these days during this pandemic, we have put up our welfare package proposal, which has been quite successful across the sector, and we can see a lot of relief packages coming up for international students. And as we always prioritize in CISA, we value our international students. We value their future, especially their careers development, their academic success in Australia. That's one of the reasons most of the international students come to Australia. So we are helping students during this pandemic to prepare themselves for the post-pandemic conditions in terms of their job development. So we have launched many sessions. This has been one of the great sessions that CISA launched. CISA Welfare Office and CISA Education Office are launching this amazing employability seminar. Employability webinar. So we used to have an employability seminar, which was organized in Sydney, and I'm pretty sure our National Education Officer, Domi, will touch on that. And I'm really glad to see you all, and thanks for your attendance. And if you have any problem, write to us, welfare@cisa.edu.au. We are here to help, and we will be advocating and we will be working for the betterment of International Students Australia. Over to you, Domi.
Yeah, thank you, Kassan. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon for this webinar, and I'm so glad that you guys scheduled your calendar for this webinar. So myself, Domi Johnson, the National Education Officer of CISA. This session will be aiming to give you all live demonstrations on how to apply for jobs, and it will also provide you an idea for all of you guys to meet some industry expert needs, because some of the industries need a change in your resumes or in your cover letter according to the job descriptions. So I think this session will be aiming to cover up all those industrial needs that you have to prepare yourself before applying for jobs. So CISA Education Office and Welfare Office, in collaboration with Student Job Australia, has launched the first session in Sydney, as told by Kassan, in October 2019. And this seminar was really benefiting a lot of students in a number of ways, and they gained a lot of insights about how employment sector caters to international students, and how they can stand out when they're applying for some meaningful opportunity in Australia. So I received a lot of feedbacks and comments and suggestions after the session, which led me to frame this webinar. And we know that there's lots happening around the world right now, and everyone is grappling on how to best respond to your future career. I hope this is the question that's going on in every one of your mind. due to this COVID pandemic. So that's why CISA and Student Job Australia understands that, and we are here today for you to build a confidence in you all about to prepare yourself for the post-pandemic employment challenges, because I know you all are the important part of the social fabric of Australian life, which shouldn't be forgotten. So we took this webinar to move forward with to bring best in your career journey. As said, CISA and Student Job Australia is always there to help you, because we always wanted to bring best in your career journey. If you have any queries or clarification, feel free to ask anything at the end of the sessions, and also you can email us on education@cisa.edu.au at any time on any of your clarifications will be answered. So now I'm passing on over to Dinkar, who is the founder of Student Job Australia, who has been advocating on a lot of ways. He wanted to address, he really understands the international students issues, and he puts himself in the shoes of international students, and he has been organizing a lot of events and webinars over this challenging time as well. So over to Dinkar, and hope you guys will have fun and enjoy these sessions, and it will give you a lot of insights. Thank you.
Hi, Domi. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for Kosun as well for briefing information about CISA. So let me tell you first of all my introduction. Let me give you my introduction and quickly go through some useful job search strategy, and then I'll introduce our job search specialist, Dick Lamb, so who is here at the moment, and he actually looks after in more specialist area for, he's been working in the recruitment industry for a long time as well. So he'll go through some specific point as well, how to look for job, do the apply for job. He does all the demonstration for you. Right now, let me go through a few points, and then I'll talk about my personal story as well. Okay, so my name is Dinkar. I came to Australia as an international student in 2008, and definitely the time was very difficult time, and the time was it was economically recession as well at that time in Australia, and I was looking for IT job initially, but at that time it's because of the situation as an international student, because of 20 hours work restriction. Everybody was saying, like, because you have a student visa, 20 hours work limitation, so you cannot work. But I personally I didn't actually accept that. I was keep applying and keep looking as well, even though I was rejected hundreds of thousands of times. I was rejected, but my idea from the day one I had of my plan was, I want to apply for IT job, and I want to see myself working in the IT environment. That was my focus from the day one. So although in for the few months, for 6 months, 1 year, I did some job for survival job in order to survive in Australia, but still I was not satisfied. I was not happy, and I was not actually enjoying other job, because my focus was just to look for the job, my industry where I was, I had my skills was. So what I did is I was consistently I was looking for job, and I did multiple different job search strategy. I didn't only rely on seek.com and only I didn't rely on only one specific area, but I did so many different strategy. But during that time I also realized, because for international student it was difficult actually, because every time when we had to apply for a job, we had to either go through a seek.com and compete with very professional job seekers in Australia, internationally, people coming here to apply for a job. And it was challenging for international students actually who doesn't have a work experience, and it was always a battle, like where you don't have work experience and they don't give you a job, and then when it's like a chicken and egg situation, like you don't have job experience, so you don't get a job. But if you don't get job, how can you get experience, right? This is the situation I was facing certain time. Everybody asked me, you don't have work experience, you don't have local work experience, and or you don't have you have 20 hours work limitation, you know. But later I realized, when after going through so many different strategies and process, and I realized there is different ways to approach. This is something we need to do differently, you know. So then I started looking for some volunteer jobs, some internships, some contracting job. Even I started my own IT business as well initially, because nobody gave me jobs. So that's why I thought maybe I should start my own business to show the employers I have some portfolio, I have some, you know, interaction with clients. So I started even my own business as well, even when I was an international student finishing about to finish my study. So later I ended up working in IT companies. I ended up working at, right now I'm teaching in IT in different colleges. And also because of my own personal experience, my own personal feeling of international students. So I personally, with a team of my, you know, I mean, the helpful team, we created this portal like Student Job Australia. So the Student Job Australia is only the one employment portal for international students. Our main aim is to we believe in providing job opportunities and support for international students, so they can utilize their skills in Australia, or even they go back to their country, they can utilize their skills. So this was our main fundamental goal. So now let me tell you, show you some pictures so you can have a look. This one, so this was the employability seminar we did in 2019, last year, with in collaboration with the CISA. And we've been regularly doing so many different international students employability activities regularly. Every Wednesday, we were doing face-to-face, but because of this COVID-19 situation, we couldn't do face-to-face, so we converted online. So, but we regularly doing so many different activities in order to integrate international students with the local community, integrate international students with the employers. So our main focus is to help international students so they can easily utilize their skills, knowledge, and strength in Australian job market. So now I want to be more specific and I want to tell you more job search strategy tools online. I'll focus on online job search strategy. Now let me talk about one strategy, which is SWOT analysis. Let me quickly tell you. So if you guys are actually already studied business and business courses, you might know this SWOT analysis, right? It's a strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. So currently we are actually in the situation of facing this threat. We are we battling with this invisible enemy like this virus, right? And because of this, we are completely adapting new lifestyle. We completely, you know, we're forced to do things differently. But at the same time, every threat situation actually brings different opportunity as well, you know. So because of this situation, you can see there are so many technology changes. We're using webinar, medical supply, medical companies, they're growing as well, and so many retail industry, like especially for you know, Woolworth, Coles, and so many other retail shops, they actually converted, they're doing all the things online and delivering, you know. So there are so many positive aspects happening as well because of these threats, and then you can see those things, people will start adapting these changes even when we go back to our real normal life as well, because this is already changing our mindset as well. So what I want to focus on international students is, you need to focus on think about something creativity, think about something adaptability, you know. Like, I mean, people now, they talk about, like, you know, the I mean, IQ. We used to talk about IQ, but IQ is, and then we started talking about emotional intelligence, how emotional intelligence is important. But now, not only IQ, not only emotional intelligence, now adaptability is very important as well. Those who can adapt quickly, those who can sustain and survive with the change and maintain that change, and take that change, and think about some creativity, he can move faster than those who, who has a very resistance in order to adapt the situation. So that's why adaptability is very important key factor for employee or for the job seeker, is an international student, to develop ourselves. So that's why nowadays employers, actually, they don't only look for your IQ, they don't only look for your EQ, they also wants to see you whether you are adaptable. So this is an example. We are adapting, we're using new technology, we're using Zoom, we're using, so this is the very important thing as well. So think about some opportunities. What are the opportunities coming? Which industries are booming? Which industry is actually has more scalability, in terms of the career growth? Because if you choose industry which has more long-term scalability, long-term growth, then you will be automatically grow as well. So that's why I want to emphasize here, international students. So if you have a career and you need to be specialized for something, specialize yourself, reskill yourself, or maybe reshape your career. If you have to reshape, if you have to change your career, maybe think about changing career as well. But this is the very perfect right time as well, based on the industry scalability and growth. You need to always look for that as well. So one other important thing is, I want to emphasize here, is strength. If you guys have strength, if you are good at something, this is the perfect best time as well. If you're good at something in terms of your skills, this is the perfect time to share your strength. So visible, so online, using LinkedIn, using different other online platforms. You present yourself, writing blogs, writing maybe audio podcast, or maybe writing, writing blogs, doing different videos, doing different activities. You can share your content and show your potential recruiters, potential employers, that you have passion, you have interest, and you are genuine, with your industry. You need to show that as well. And people are watching at the moment, and they're checking your LinkedIn profile. They're searching right candidate every time. Employers looking for those people, and recruiters as well. So this is the great time for you to share your strength, right? And if you have weaknesses as well, and everybody has weaknesses as well, even myself, even everybody has, but weaknesses is good thing. But the main important thing, we need to learn our weaknesses as well. We cannot just leave the weaknesses. If you have a problem with the communication, if you have a problem with maybe local experience problem, you bouncing back because of your the employers or recruiters always say you don't have local experience. So this is a great time as well for you to maybe think about considering those factors and try to improve that one. So how are you going to improve that one? Maybe I told you as well, the communication skills, definitely you need to learn. You need to look for a job where you can communicate. You need to do some activities where you can talk to people, doing online, talk to the specialist. I recommend you go to your LinkedIn profile, talk to some specialists, ask them, could you give me some time? I want to ask you experience. I want to ask your advice in relation to this industry. People love to give you time at the moment. If you ask them to give you advice, people love to do that as well. And at the same time, this is a great strategy. You are not only going to develop your communication skills, but at the same time, you will be, more familiarized. You will be more connecting with the people, industry experts as well. So you can do that as well. And at the same time, if you're having problem with the local work experience issue, then I highly recommend you to try to look for everything from small, start from small. So what I'm trying to tell you is, you can look for at the moment, many employers, even IT industry, because I'm from IT background. So many employers in different industry, they are not comfortable at the moment hiring the employees full-time position, because of the situation at the moment. So, but they are happy hiring people for part-time, casual, casually, or they're happy to hire someone as a contracting role as well. So why don't you look for contracting job, even it's 3 months or 2 months, but that's fine, because you look for contracting work. At the same time, you build your trust, you build your relation with your potential employers. Then because of the situation, when you, if this is the time when, if you build your trust, this is the time when you show them you're genuine, your employer will definitely, he will love you, you know, he will hire you for the long term. So that's why look for something where other people cannot do. Definitely most of the if I'm local here, so I don't prefer going maybe for a part-time casual job. But if you're an international student, that's a strength for you. Look for casual, look for even 2 months, 3 months contracting job, because the locals, they may not like that one. So try to take that role and try to do your best, put your best effort, try to show them you are the best staff, best employee ever. So when you show them you are genuine, your best, your full potential strength, if you show them, they will definitely give you a good chance when the things goes, you know, I mean, smoothly, correct. So that's a very important thing you need to. Now I want to show you a quick demo about the LinkedIn. But first of all, one other important thing I want to tell you as well is, yes, I already discussed how you're going to handle this COVID-19 situation. So because of, if you're having problem with the especially survival job, and it's a difficult time for you to even find a, you know, I mean, just basic temporary job, then definitely the government is being very flexible in order to international students to work in supermarket, delivery, or career, like especially as care. So those jobs you can work. I mean, if you're looking for temporary position, temporary survival, that's why you can look for those jobs and try to, you know, I mean, generate certain cash flow. But I'm talking about the long-term job. So looking for contract work for, so that's one idea. And activate your network through the virtual meeting and LinkedIn while practicing social distancing as well. So I'll show you how to do that one practically. And engage with the expert, as I discussed previously, and learn skills. That's a very important thing as well, because right now LinkedIn, Coursera, and many different online platforms, they're offering free courses, free university courses you can do from Coursera for free completely. So you can choose the different subjects, and whichever you like, you can do that one. And that's also great advantage for you to build your online LinkedIn profile as well, because you can show that you have that skills, you're passionate about doing this, you know, the courses. This is a very great opportunity. So now you can see some statistics here. It says on average, each corporate job offer attracts 250 resumes. Of those candidates, 4 to 6 will get called for an interview. Only one, like 200 out of 250 resumes, only 4 to 6 will get, I mean, call for an interview, and out of them, one person will get the job, definitely. So you can also see the statistics from the Glassdoor. It says recruiters take an average 6 seconds to scan your resume. If your resume, so that's why your resume, your profile is very important. So make sure you properly customize your resume. Why I'm saying is because most of the time when I see international students, they keep using the same resume again and again and again and again for every job, you know, and which is I don't recommend, because it's not about you. It's not about you looking for a job. It's about, you need to think about the business, you know. If they're looking for that position, they have a position job descriptions, and they're looking for certain skills. And if they don't find those skills and those position experience, I mean, those information on your resume, on your cover page, they will definitely reject that one, you know. So you need to think about them, not about you. So that's why every time I recommend, when you look for a job, if you're working 2 different sectors, 2 different industries, have a separate resumes, have a 2 different version of resumes. If you even looking for 2 different companies, I recommend having even 2 different separate resume as well, because every time the resume those resume you need to have a separate. Right now, let's quickly talk about a few other important things. 95% recruiters and hiring managers source for candidates on LinkedIn. So right now, because of the situation as well, and plus, you know, in general as well, more than 95% recruiters actually look for, because all the skills, talents you can find on LinkedIn. So they look through the LinkedIn. So 79% have hired a candidate they found on LinkedIn. 75%, 9% have hired the candidate based on they found on LinkedIn. And 54% have decided not to hire candidate based on their social media profiles as well. So imagine if you have a social media, LinkedIn, your page, and your LinkedIn page doesn't look like consistent with your CV, and it doesn't look like a genuine. So they don't, you know, they look strange as well for them as well, to whether they should hire you as well. So maybe you need to think about your presenting your profile more genuinely, and you know, connecting with more people. So now let's quickly go back to the LinkedIn. I'll share my page. So everybody can see the LinkedIn. Sorry, here, okay. Can you see my LinkedIn here?
Inka, we can't see it now.
You cannot? Okay, sorry.
You have to, share a different screen.
Okay. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. So this is my LinkedIn profile. You feel free to connect with me as well via LinkedIn. I can quickly show you a few important tips. So what you need to do is, first of all, you can have your profile, if you can put your key skills, your position, what you're trying to apply for. Like, let's say, for example, you're trying to look for a job as a network security, network specialist, or accountant. You can put your title here. Your specific title, so nobody get confused with that, right? You can put your title here. And one other important thing is, you can have here the profile picture. In resume, in Australian resume, we don't normally put the profile picture or photo, right? But in resume, in LinkedIn, you can put your photo, you can put your professional image, so it looks like more professional and positive as well. It gives positive vibe for people when they look for your page. And put your here about us, put your information, like, you know, what's your career goal, what's your career objectives, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years time, what's your main aim, your vision. You can put your your goals here, right? And but don't put too much information as well. Be specific and put something which is very important for you, for someone to read, right? That you just need to put very cream part of that. Then what you need to do is, then what you can do is, you go to your LinkedIn here. You can go to your settings and privacy. So once you go to your settings and privacy, you can see there is an option here, job seeking preferences. So in this area, what you need to do is go to job application settings. And you can upload your resume as well. You can upload your resume, so your potential recruiters or employers, they can see as well. You can upload your resume, and you can put your phone number if you want, right? This is one step. Then once you uploaded your resume here, then second stage, what you need to do, you need to click here. Let recruiters know you are open to opportunities, right? You need to click here. And you need to enable this option as well, because most of the time I've seen many of us, we don't know, so we just leave that as a by default. So just enable this option, yes. And when you enable this one, whenever recruiters they search on LinkedIn with using different keys, keywords, they can find you as well. So this is one thing, right? Then once you finish your your recruiters this option, then you go back here. So taking time, by the way, loading this page, sorry. Okay, can you see? Can you see the page I'm sharing? Sorry, just let me know if you can see the page. Okay, so then you come back to your page, and then what you can do is you can then here you can put your experience here in this area. So if you have a job experience, if you work in Australia, if you have worked in Australia, the prioritize that one first. But if you don't have a local experience, Australian experience, then definitely you can also emphasize your international experience as well. That's fine. So you put your experience here. Then the one other important things what you can do on LinkedIn is you can put your education, what are the qualifications you have. You can highlight all the qualifications. Then as I mentioned previously as well, in LinkedIn, all the courses, because LinkedIn at the moment offering you e-learning as well. You can see this one, LinkedIn is giving free access for actually for 1 month. You can access different courses there. And once you do different courses through LinkedIn e-learning, whenever you finish the course, you can see that your certification on your LinkedIn profile, it will highlight as well. So this is a good, for job seeker as well. Whenever you complete your course, it will show you here, you did this one, and you've been learning different courses as well. And it's good for your professional development as well. Then if you have a volunteer experience, or if you contributed your leadership skills through different organizations, like let's say CISA, or many different organizations, if you have contributed as a leadership role, a managerial role, or any role where you dealing with the people, and don't underestimate as well, because I have seen many international students, they didn't realize actually they really extra activities considers in Australia, So if you have extra activities, it's very important, because if you work in people skills and you have technical skills as well, definitely you can highlight those as well, and you can maybe work in where the area where you requires to talking to people, and plus technical area as well, like let's say business analyst, So this is very important. If you have a work experience, I'm just showing my profile at the moment as an example. So you can put those your experience, whether it's volunteer experience or whether it's maybe internship. You can put that, highlight that as well. And one other important thing I want to emphasize here is for LinkedIn, I found LinkedIn also gives you an opportunity for you to ask recommendation feedback from your ex-employers, from your lecturer, from your even colleague. Someone can actually recommend you. Someone can actually give you as a testimonials as well through LinkedIn as well. These options available as well. So, so what you can do is you can ask because this is the situation where this will help you. If somebody asks you, you don't have a local experience, you don't have a, so it's difficult for employers to validate whether you are genuine, person, right? So if somebody validates you, if somebody is in same industry, validates you, I know this person, we've been doing this project for since this, and I know. So that is also endorsement. It's very good as well, very great for you as a actually new job seeker, so you can ask as well, which is here LinkedIn has this recommendation option. You can ask for recommendation and people can easily give you a recommendation, and that will be visible for all the people who actually accessing your profile, right? And accomplishments as well. So accomplishments is like, let's say for example, if you did some extra courses, certification, especially if you're in IT or accounting or different background, project management, there are so many certifications as well available, which gives you up-to-date knowledge, right? Not only academic qualification, but certifications gives you an up-to-date knowledge. So if you have certification, highlight those certification as an achievements area here. And if you speak, definitely we all, English is not my first language, definitely native language, and I guess many of us here, we are all international background, coming from different, nationality background, right? So if English is not your first language, you speak definitely other languages as well, and this is great. You can highlight how many languages you speak and what are the strength, which language you speak. You can focus as well. That's fine. It's all good. So this is just general information tips about the LinkedIn. Right now, I want to show you more some specific other connecting, how you're going to connect with the people, connecting strategy with the LinkedIn. So now, if you want to connect with other people, so what you need to do is go to the My Network section here. So when you go to My Network section here in LinkedIn, so what exactly LinkedIn does, like if you, let's say, for example, if you don't have let's say many people, many, the professional connections on your LinkedIn. So what you can do is you can go to your connection area, and LinkedIn actually gives you then options. You can search people, you can filter, you can search people based on the industry, based on the even you can filter based on the area where they live in. You can search people, let's say for example, I want to connect with the people who actually currently residing in Sydney and who has background in network security, or who has background in accounting, finance, and who actually working in certain industry, or even some specific organization. You can search as well based on that one. So LinkedIn gives you that opportunity. Well, see here example. So if I want people you may know, like let's say if people you may know from this organization, right? I can search people if I know from this organization. I can search based on the organization. I can also connect people based on they actually from the university they studied. I can also connect people based on the similar roles I have, similar interests, similar roles I have, right? And it's a good idea, because when you connect these people, they will be these people are more approachable, because they have a similarity with you and with me. So if I want to connect with this specific person, I can just connect with him. I just need to write a message there asking him, hi, could be Sima, could be anyone. I can ask him, hi, Ritzi, I can see you are working currently in IT industry as well. So I would like to I would like to share some knowledge and, and my some, regarding the industry, what's been happening, currently. Would you happy to connect with me? You can be like a human message, like ask them you're genuinely interested to talk to this person and want to share about the what's the situation happening with the industry, or I would like to get your advice regarding the current situation or current industry, the growth regarding IT. So you can do that as well. So connect with those people who has similar interests or similar roles, or people those who are living in Sydney, says, or people, those mutual, or you can search for mutual people, like, the mutual friends, search as well and connect with them. So that's how we connect. When what happened is, in general, in general job search strategy, when you go through the mutual friends, when you go to the people who you already know, people who you already connected, then it will be easier for you definitely for your job search strategy, because then people already know you. The friends of mine know friends of that friends know other friends. It will be easier for you to actually get into the job interview, rather than you going through yourself and looking for again and again. Sometimes it's going to be difficult. 6 times faster if you know someone already working in that industry and that person recommends his boss, because I know someone, then it will be much easier process as well. And this is in the end, we all are human, right? Okay. Now, one last thing on LinkedIn here is you need to go to your job. Once you connected with people, go to job here. Everybody can hear me? Just want to double check, or I'm just talking myself.
We can hear you, Dinka.
Okay, that's fine. So now double check. Okay, so while I'm going here, LinkedIn has, you can apply job through directly through LinkedIn as well, without even going through different job website as well. You can do that as well, but at the same time, the good thing, you going through LinkedIn, one other good thing is you can connect with the recruiters or HR manager for that company as well, and you can subscribe your the updates, their the job updates. You can subscribe as well, so you get notification whenever they have some roles available. You can do that as well, and then ask directly to that the HR manager or recruiters. Ask them directly what's been happening. Are you interested hiring someone, or you interested hiring internally, or are you interested hiring someone external people as well? Can you give me some idea? You can do that as well. So you can search your job here and look for through the location, and you can apply there as well. So right now, because of this time limitation, I cannot go more on LinkedIn. I'll just quickly show you one job application, how to apply for job, and then I'll pass it over to Declan. Okay, let's have a look this job here. IT support officer. So this is a very current job for Rode Microphone. It's the audio device company. So they're looking for IT support officer in Parramatta. So full-time position. So like as I mentioned previously as well. So if you want to apply for a job, right? First of all, make sure you read their actually job description, what exactly they're looking for. You can read about the company, what exactly what are their actually the product services they actually offering, the selling to their customers, and you can see the responsibility. What are the responsibility you need to be doing in order to apply for this job? Have a look all the responsibility. They're looking for some technical skills. You need to have some skills, like let's say for example Windows application, Apple Office 365, Active Directory, blah blah blah. All this technical area they're looking for. You need to have this responsibility. Plus they're looking for certification, like here you need to have a demonstrate IT experience role, be able to access so strong communication skills. So what you need to do is, if you have to apply for this job, right? If I'm applying for this job, so I need to make sure first of all I understand all their requirements. I understand their expectation. So I need to understand. So once you understand, then what you need to craft your resume accordingly. You need to paraphrase. You need to completely reorder your descriptions, your job description, because sometimes what happens is they're looking for technical area and your resume does not covers all the technical skills. Then you need to remove those unwanted information and put those what they're looking for is specific. If you don't have those skills, you need to develop that skills or show something similar skills you have. Let's say for example, sometimes what happens is if they're looking for leadership role, and you don't have leadership role, I mean, in your current job, but you did sometimes, let's say, for example, you did leadership role, maybe 10% leadership role also covers 10%, maybe 90% you do other activities, then emphasize that 10%, emphasize that the leadership role you're doing as well. So what I'm trying to tell you is match your resume based on their expectation. You need to match that one as well. Your resume should not look like just, okay, this another resume coming, it should not look like another number. It should be matching their criteria. If I'm an employer, if I'm looking for someone, I want to match that one. If I don't see my expectation on your resume, I'm not going to hire you. 99.9% I'm not going to hire. And plus, even from many recruiters and business, they even use the software, and that software even checks all the keywords and searches through the keywords. And if that keywords doesn't match on your resume, does not pick up your profile. So that's why you need to be very careful. All these keywords, Windows, Apple 365, Active Directories, computers, mobile devices, you need to have communication skills. You need to, all the keywords has to be reflected on your resume. Strong communication skills, how you're going to prove? You need to show your strong communication skills by maybe actively participating with different organizations, leadership role, or maybe sometimes one of my friend, I'm going to tell you a story. Well, we graduated from university. One of my friend who actually got the job first, he was just passed student. He didn't even have a HD, high distinction. He didn't have even distinction. He just passed the course, and he was the one who first found the job after graduating. And we struggled 6 months, 7 months in a long time, but what was the reason he found was because he could strongly emphasize his communication skills. He could strongly emphasize on his resume. He was a manager in McDonald's. He was doing this, he was doing that. So you need to emphasize those as well. So don't underestimate, as I mentioned as well, even if you're doing other activities, but if that has some matching criteria there, you need to emphasize as well. So this is the very one important aspect as well. So now let's quickly show you one last thing, and I'll sum up my talk here. So let me share. Okay, and in resume, as I mentioned as well, resume, you definitely, you need to make sure you have a cover page as well in resume. Write down the cover page, then have a resume. And because one other important thing is when you write your subject line, most of the time I've seen students, they write, oh, I'm looking for job. Your subject line, make your subject line catchy, that's very important. Make your subject line so I want to feel like I want to open the email. If your email is very desperate and you're just looking for job, sometimes employers point of view, I'm thinking about employers point of view, and employers, they can see exactly the similar patterns of resume again and again. So you be more specific. Just tell them, you have experience or expert in this particular area, looking for, willing to contribute your skills. Change your word, change your phrase, so at least employers feel like opening your resume, your email, right? And if you sending email to many, I don't recommend actually sending mass email. I don't recommend that one. It's better to personalize. When you personalize, you directly communicating with the person rather than sending dear sir and madam. So that's like people, they don't feel opening your email, right? So it's better, if possible, right? If possible, try to find that person name who is managing that, the organization. Sometimes it's difficult, definitely, to find a manager's name, and sometimes you need to call the receptionist, ask them, who is that man? Can you please tell me the name of the manager? I want to talk to the person, and I want to send him a resume directly, right? Sometimes they don't give you, they don't want to, but you need to be persistent, and you need to look for that. So when you send the email to the specific person, dear David, dear Tom, please find my resume, I'm looking for this. So it's personal, right? So personalize as much as possible, right? And one last thing is, in your resume here. All the emails, if you're sending, like, this is a worst case scenario. I don't recommend, but what I'm saying is sometimes you want to send, like, let's say, for example, 20 different companies, right? If you're sending, so make sure you send all the email address has to be in BCC. Make sure you put all the emails in BCC area, not CC. Sometimes I've seen some students, they did mistake as well, because then everybody can see you sending everybody, it doesn't look nice. So make all the email address in BCC area, and then you can just say dear HR manager, or be specific position, dear maybe recruitment manager, and you can send as well. That's okay. If you want to send like 50 recruitment agency at the same time, you can do that as well, nothing wrong. But just make sure, as long as you can put your email address on BCC area, and rather than saying dear sirs and madam, you can just write down dear recruitment manager and be specific with that position if you don't know the name, and then send as well. This is one other idea as well. I'm going to tell you one last thing, guys. Why, when I was applying for job, applying for job, looking for job, I was actually looking for job since from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock as well. Whenever somebody used to ask me, what do you do? What have you been doing nowadays? And I was looking for job, and looking for job was my full-time job. For 3 months, I was continuously looking for job, and I was looking for 9 to 5. So it is not actually, it's a process, right? It requires time. Requires a lot of energy. You need to be communicating as well, constantly checking emails, and constantly following up as well. So it's a combination of all the different strategies, combination of making sure you positive energy. You need to have a dream. You need to visualize yourself. I want to work in Microsoft. I want to work in Cisco. I want to work in this company. When you visualize yourself, when you put yourself, I want to do that one, and I can show that one, and so at least when you say I want to work in Microsoft, maybe you end up working in at least little, some medium-sized company, but put your goal, put your dream bigger, so at least if you don't achieve that, at least you achieve something, right? That's what I believe, and that's what I've been doing as well myself, So now I would like to give this, I would like to welcome Dick Lamb. He's more expert, actually. He'll give you different perspective from expert point of view. And so I would like to welcome Dick. Thank you, everyone. So Dick, are you here?
Yes. Thank you. Can you just stop sharing the screen, Dinka? That would help. And go on mute when you finish with that. If you stop sharing the screen.
Yep.
Okay, if you can go on mute as well. All right, because I sort of still see you. Just want to check, does everyone still see Dinka's blank screen, or are they seeing me now? If you can let me know on the comments, are you seeing me or you see Dinka? Okay, good. All right, so what I might do is I'm seeing Dinka, so I'll pin my video to the first screen and the second screen. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back here. So thank you, Dinka and CISA, for inviting me. Just a little about me, I have a couple websites. I coach people how to find jobs, and I mainly do it online now. I do a lot of seminars as well, and I have done a lot of webinars. I was lucky enough to be invited to help contribute to a book with some famous people. So what I'm going to talk about is, I'm wary about the time, so I'm going to keep it useful for you. If you have any questions, put it on the chat box, and I will try to answer them, especially near the end. So to make it useful for you, I'll explain a little bit how the recruitment works, and then I'll show you how to apply. Because, Dinka's mentioned it, it's 250 plus resumes. The research, even as far back as 2011, was 219 resumes. So it's going to be much higher than that now. So I might just show you how it works. So employer goes to a recruiter. Now I could go to HR. I'll just put recruiter here first. And they give them a job description, and then the recruiter goes to the market. That's the job ad you see. That's the ad you see on LinkedIn, that you see on Seek or Indeed. Now what happens is this recruiter is competing with other recruiters, usually up to 3. So a panel, they call it. So what they call it, especially as a large company, they have a preferred panel. So sometimes it's exclusive with one recruiter, but most of the time it's with 3 because one isn't usually enough to get all the different jobs a large company wants. So these guys are competing. They go to the market. This process can take a few days. And then they'll have to sort through 200 resumes and probably have to meet you first because you have to sign some agreement. They want to see how you present as an interviewee so they can decide whether to put you in front of the employer as well. So what they tend to do is they have a stack on the side here, okay, of resumes. People they've seen, people themselves or their colleagues in the same team have seen and have made notes. This is a good resume. And they interview well, they present well. This is sort of the thing that they want. A whole bunch of notes in there. So what they do is when they're doing this at the same time, they go to the stack and then send the employer, often on the same day, because they've already met them. They can just call them, and you might have experienced this. They pick up the phone and says, "Oh, we got this job. You know, it's with this company. Just wondering if you're interested. We'll put forward your resume." And that takes 15 minutes. And you say yes. They send the resume. Now they send about 5 usually. Okay. So what happens is they beat as much as possible. They're trying to beat these other guys in. So if they succeed in doing that, it gets back and they says, "Oh, we don't like any of them, or we like this one. We'll interview this one." Okay. So then they'll send you a candidate from here. All right. So from here, you get one candidate, let's say. They haven't even looked at your resumes yet. Right. So if they don't get anything, then they might look to the market, look through all that. It'll take a few days. They'll go through maybe an applicant tracking software, and then they'll read maybe 50 of the 200. And they'll read it, I think the time average is 7.4 seconds before they decide whether this resume is suitable or not. So this is the key. So when you're applying for a job, there's a job description, and Dinka has mentioned a few things. You've got to match the requirements, but the key thing is you've got to stand out. No recruiter is going to rewrite your resume for you. It takes too long. You've experienced writing it yourself. It took you hours to do it. They're not going to go through that and try to rewrite your resume before they can present to your employer. They're not even, if you haven't written it well, they're not going to come back to you and ask you to rewrite it. So your resume has to be good. Just go in this pile. They'll call you up because they can't put you forward until you've met with them. Okay, so this is the general recruitment cycle. Graduate programs might be slightly different, but they have to meet with you. You have to sign some papers. Otherwise, you know, you can go somewhere else and they can represent you too. So they want to make sure that you sign with them. So they get the commission because they're fighting for commission here. So this is sort of how the process works. So you have to stand out as on paper, and you have to stand out in person. So treat that meeting with the recruiter as an interview. So look at it as I'm interviewing, this guy's judging me about whether if he puts me in front of an employer, no matter how good my resume is, this employer will like me. If you don't interview well, they're probably not going to put you through because they judge on success. They don't get money for advertising. They don't get money for sending candidates. They only get money once the deal is signed. So as an idea of how much money it is, if it's $100,000 salary, these guys take 15 to 20%. So they get $15,000 to $20,000 per hire, but they won't get it until you start, and then they might have to refund it if you leave within 3 months or you don't pass a probation period within 6 months. So that's the idea. So bear in mind, this is what you have to do to compete. So I'm going to go through a couple of job descriptions. I'm going to focus on finance. I think Dinka has spoken about IT. If you have any other questions, just put it in the chat box. So I'll just write this out now, and I'll pick a couple of finance role. So some sample applications. Okay, I'll skip these. Tell me if you can't read it. This is one that Dinka suggested. Now, if you can't read it, just let me know. Just say you can't read it, and I'll try to share the screen instead. So let me know about that if you can't read it. We can read it, okay? So anyone else? All right. So if you can read that, that's good. You can maximize the screen if you like. On the Zoom on the top right, it allows you to fill the screen. So I've hidden a company. It just says XXX is a well-established legal service provider. So I'll give you the structure of how this works. In fact, I might show you previous ones. You don't have to read the words, but I'll just explain the structure. The words are smaller. So here's a very simple one. It says entry-level finance. Forget about the words. What the structure is this. What they do at the start is they sell the company. Generally, that's how they structure it. They sell the company and tell you it's a good company, it's not a good company. I'll make it a bit thicker. They sell the company. Okay, they tell you what it is, how great it is. We got good salary, etc. Then they might explain a little bit about the role. Now, you often find it separated in two segments here. Okay, so it might just tell you what you have to do, right? Sort of responsibility. All right, so they explain the responsibility. This is a short one. You see much longer ones, okay? When it's short, it's much easier. When it's long, you might have to do a bit of work. This is where people fall down. So I'll explain it further. So what you find though is the top ones are the most important. Make sure you satisfy those or get an idea of it. Try to rewrite it in your mind. And then they'll ask you skill set. So here, right, so what, sort of experience or skills. Okay, and once again, the higher ones are the most important. So I'll tell you what it says, the higher one. Previous banking and finance experience or trading knowledge preferred. Now this is an entry level, so they might assume you don't have it, but it's preferred. So the guys who have some experience here will get an advantage. The bottom ones are usually the fluffy things like eagerness to learn and contribute to the wider team, right? Well, you can't really, you can say I'm eager to learn and I contribute, but it's not quite specific enough. All right, so just move this. Okay, so just understand this, that the ones at the top are most important. So when you write your resume, the first few points I like to see in your summary and maybe in the first few points of your experience, when you describe the work that you've been doing, tries to match these, tries to tell them they do this stuff. The other stuff like eagerness to learn is probably implied. And what Dinka mentioned is important. When you show other activities, like maybe you did some team sports or you started some sort of council or student group, these things really help because that demonstrates his eagerness to learn and contribute, but it does it indirectly because nobody believes it if you just say it, okay? So just understand that's how it's structured. Now, as I said, it can get very, very fluffy and long. Okay, so that's a very short one. Okay. Here's the next one, and it's over 2 pages. You can see this is Fujitsu, and it's got all this stuff before, and it talks about all this before it gets to the points. So then it's got points, and then it's got all these points. When you get to so many points, you almost have to rewrite it in your mind because this is what happens. And just so you know, this is what happens in resumes as well. When I read more than 3 points, by the 4th point, I've forgotten almost the first point. It's definitely by the 5th point I have forgotten, right? So when you have so many points, when you read it, it becomes a blur in your mind. So mentally, you almost have to rewrite it and say, what's the most important stuff? So understanding how Fujitsu operates, strong communication skills, analytical, general accounting, blah, blah, blah. So sort of fluffy. So I might just rewrite that as a well-rounded person who's interested in finance with some problem-solving skills, right? That's how I put it in my mind. So essentially, it's almost 1 point. And then down here, it fluffs around about how many years experience, commitment towards CACPA, which is a qualification, a postgraduate qualification for finance people, and all this other fluff. You rewrite it in your head. But here's the thing, on your resume, try not to have too many points as well, because again, they'll forget what you said at the start. And this is one of the main reasons resumes don't make an impact. They don't stand out, and they last 10.4 seconds because you still haven't got to the point yet down here, and I'm looking for this stuff and you haven't got it. We'll throw it away. And you might complain that, oh, I've got all that stuff. I've done all these things, but you didn't tell them up front. So focus on doing that. So this is you can see job descriptions can be poorly written as well. So don't consider recruiters or HR people as experts in recruiting, because there's no degree for that. All right, so I'll go back to this one. This is the accountant. Again, you can see all these points, right? I just want to check if it's both of these. Yep, so you see it's 2 pages. Then the jobs and tasks and responsibilities, and the next page is some key requirements and stuff about application. So it's not a big company, so there's not a lot to say. If it was a bigger company with more benefits, then they will probably say a few more things. So it's a legal company that you want you to work for minimum 8 months. It's a fixed term contract, and they've got a bunch of these tasks. Right, so I'll do it quickly for you. You don't have to understand terminology. So prepare and lodge quarterly BAS, which is business activity statements. There's things like GST and tax. Monthly IS for multiple companies. So basically doing accounts receivable, prepare year accounts. If I look at this, what I'm thinking is this guy is a general accountant. They have done a few of these things. So you need to make sure that you tell them. So if I would write my resume, I would say, if I group this together, right, as general accounting skills, highlighting especially the stuff up front. So, quarterly BAS, or basically government reporting, okay? So quarterly government tax reporting, you might say, right? Try to use some of the terminology. I'm just keeping it simple. So BAS is good, IAS is good, especially if it's slightly rare, because the applicant tracking system will pick that up. Don't write for an applicant tracking system, just so you know. You can use words. So titles, the way we do titles, this is accountant. Maybe your title was something different. Maybe it was like a finance exec or something, right? But you look at these tasks and you did something similar, just put finance exec / accountant, right? This was your official title, but you're doing the same stuff that they're doing. This way, a person who's not expert on finance, and I can tell you HR people and recruiters are not experts in these roles, right? They might have an idea of it, but the title may elude them. So tell them, be upfront, tell them this is an accounting role. Even though you call finance exec, you're an accountant, right? So go through this and pick up the important stuff and try to summarize it into 1, 2, 3 points, right? So you can match those in the resume. So this is the key thing. There's a little bit of work that's done, because you've got to be aware that these guys are not good writers, right? They are like the 200 something resumes, of which 210 out of 215, let's say, don't get an interview, right? These guys are as bad as that. So that's why this job description is so blurry, so confused, with lots of points. And at the end, you're probably more confused about it than at the start. So I'll move on to the next page. So again, this is the responsibilities. All right, so everyone getting this? So just tell me they understand what I'm saying. Just put it on the chat. Okay. Okay, good. All right, so here's the second part, responsibilities and tasks, and then key requirements, what they need from you. It's important that you try to match these as much as possible in the order that you wrote it. But here's the thing, a lot of people miss one. So for example, they want 2 years experience as an accountant, okay? Accounting degree qualified. experience with QuickBooks. Let's say you're not quite qualified yet. You're still studying. It's your final year. You can say that we'll be qualified, almost completed, will be qualified in blah. Okay. Maybe you don't have a degree yet. Maybe you have a diploma, but you studied finance. Okay. So what you say is, I have a degree which includes a diploma in accounting, right? If something is missing, then you could either leave it out and hopefully they pick up the other stuff and interpret that as good as well. Now it says 2 years experience as accountant. Maybe you have 2 years experience and 1 year was an accountant, but the other year was still in finance. So you say 2 years in finance, including accounting work at this level, okay? So what you want to do is make sure they get that you are. They can find out more in the interview, and if you really don't have enough, then that's okay. They can read the rest of the resume as well. But you've got to grab their attention. Think of it as a newspaper article. The headline, do you meet what we need? The first paragraph, a few details, a few dot points, right? When you scroll through a newspaper, open a newspaper, and you don't read every article, just like they won't read every resume. You'll pick the articles which grab your attention or your Facebook feed. You won't read everything on your Facebook feed. You'll read maybe the headline, which is who wrote it, what it's about, and maybe you look at a little bit of the video or a little bit of what they said, okay? All that is 7.4 seconds. In fact, you'll probably spend less on a newspaper and a Facebook feed than 7.4 seconds. So they give you a little bit more time. So think about that way. You're going to match these things. They will talk about other stuff, applications, etc. Here, they've actually done something interesting. They actually said the application form will include these questions. Have you completed an accounting qualification? They almost reinforced it for you, okay? But this is what you can do yourself, right? How many years experience do you have in an accounting role? Do you have experience in QuickBooks? These are obviously their must-haves. That's why they've reinforced it down here. You should try to do the same when you read a job description. When I say tailor a resume, I don't mean you have to rewrite the whole resume, but at least the front page, and maybe you can reorder some points in your job description, some points higher than others, okay? And what I also have is at the start, I have a bit of a paragraph to show who I am and what are my key skills and features. What I might try to do is I'll try to, okay, so I won't go through this. This is a sample of a resume. I might just move further down. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to explain a structure of a resume. Now it's a bit blurry, so pardon the coloring, but you can, this is what is called eye tracking. So what someone's done is actually tracked where a recruiter's eye fell on a page of a resume in this case, right? This is a slightly shorter resume, and also in US, just so you know, resumes are shorter. They tend to be 1 or 2 pages. In Australia, they tend to be longer. Don't fill it stuff if you don't have any experience, but in resumes in Australia tend to be 3 or more pages. So title, name, what you call yourself, right? So who you are, basically, you can see the red there. That's where the eye lingered the most. So a lot of people complain about being asked for local experience. The name will tell a little bit. So there is a bit of prejudgment because it's practical. So if you have an English name that other people call you, I would put that in as well, right? So for example, people call me Dick and my actual name is Dick Fung, but people think Dick, okay, well, he's been in Australia long enough. I mean, I could put Richard technically, but if you have an English name, it sort of gives an idea that you've been communicating and around the English culture enough as well, just so you know. So here is a description of who you are. So if I would, you got your name and titles, right? Who you are, you put down here. You might put a few highlights and summaries, some skills. If you have some achievements, I'll put them in. And you might, now here you got your first job description, right? You can see the concentration around the title. Now the color is a bit difficult on this screen, but they focus on the title, the company, the dates, and the first parts. You can see, right, to the description of the company, and then there's a few points here. You can see all these points down here. They're not even red. Eyes don't even linger. After the first 3 points, we don't even pay attention because we know we'll just forget, right? And then the next recent role, you can see it's much less than the latest role, right? If you have a more important relevant role, maybe you can put it first, and then you, or maybe make the last role, which is not relevant, much smaller, so that they get to the second role much faster, okay? I would always like to see a relevant role on the first page, starting on the first page. I can see if it's relevant. I'd focus on profile and have dot points, have nicely structured, and previous roles on the second page or further. If you have any sort of experience, 3 pages in Australia is okay. It's a little bit different, Australia, than other countries. Okay, so I'm just thinking about the time. What I might do, I might just ask for questions because I know we're going to run out of time. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat box. I'm going to try to make sure I read those. So put them in now. I'll try to answer those questions as much as possible. In the meantime, I'll just sort of try to review a few things with you. So put any questions in. Okay, so I talk about writing a profile. So when you open your resume, I'd like to know who you are. Who do you think you are? Are you an accountant? Are you an IT software developer? Are you a senior accountant? So I get a question about how long the ideal resume. It depends on experience. If you have a lot of experience, I have 20 years experience in Australia or working. So that my resume is 4 to 5 pages, right? Now, it doesn't mean all of it will be read, but I think an ideal length, if someone's got, let's say, three years experience, is 3 pages. Don't fill it in for the sake of filling it in, okay? It's like a book. You can bore people with 1 page, or you can bore, if you're writing a book, you can bore people in 10 pages, or you can bore them in 500, right? Make sure it's good stuff. All right, so any certification related to supply chain and project management, would it be advisable to go for paid services for connecting with people? I'm not sure what that means. So certification, if it's sort of some sort of qualification, some things require some certification. In Australia, we don't respect it as much as in other countries because we know the academic field is a little bit vague and fluffy. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to answer some of these questions. I'll just briefly finish this. So if I'm writing a profile, I'll have a little bit of opening paragraph and some dot points. And so my questions would be, when you write stuff, people like to write fluff like self-motivated, self-motivated, results-driven, great communication skills, all that sort of stuff, right? That's fluffy. Things need to be specific in general, specific rather than general. So I need to say I got 3 years experience. I've worked in this sort of project. I've got this achievement. Something visual, right? So we improved something 50% or 55% is more specific, and I'm more likely to believe you than if I just say 50%, right? Succinct or verbose, try to rewrite stuff so it's nice and snappy. Impressive and relevant. A lot of stuff that people write is just not very impressive or relevant, okay? Make sure it's impressive and relevant rather than fill stuff in, okay? So, for example, here it says a MBA graduate and former finance risk manager who worked in, this is what somebody wrote, right? So worked in Hungary. For the last 5 years, Australia, I've worked in a small insurance firm where I obtained a diploma in blah, 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 right? So work out how to say that in a brief way and then focus on 3 dot points. And the 3 types of dot points are achievements, a valuable skill, and creating outside groups. This person also did some outside group work. All right, so I won't. Okay, so I was going to show a better statement for that, but I'm going to answer some of these questions because we got about 9 minutes left. Okay, so I think the person's asking about paid services on LinkedIn to connect with people. There are LinkedIn memberships where you can write, you pay for it, and then you can write email to people. My suggestion is
regarding that one. I mean, the paid services you can do, or they can get the paid version as well for the LinkedIn paid version, because it has, yes, you can go for the paid one as well if you just want to trial for a month, even monthly. It's free as well. You can use a paid version, and then it gives you more opportunity to filter based on the industry experts and based on the
understood, Dinka. Yeah. Okay, cool. What I might suggest there is, look, when you get a message out of the blue and you're trying to find a job, most people don't want to respond. Okay, so I would build a little bit of a relationship first. When you can always try to connect with somebody that you find and write a message and ask a specific question. So look, I don't necessarily think it's worthwhile because it's quite expensive. You can do the paid version, as Dinka said. So I'll move on to the next question. International students, is it easy to get a job through a graduate program or through other job-seeking websites? You need to go try for both. Sometimes international students, they might be doing a master's, but they might have had experience elsewhere. Tell you the truth, the master's is not really going to be terribly respected if you don't have the experience to balance it. So yes, going for the graduate program may be the way, but obviously you're going to be a bit older than many people. So there's a disadvantage. What you need to do is probably show that you are really interested in working for that organization. And you have the other things. See, part of the problem with international students is they have a, especially in certain cultures, Asian cultures, Indian cultures, they have a different respect for what's important. Education, especially from their parents as well. Education, status, accreditations, right? Titles. These are not things that are as well respected in Australia, US, or UK. What we respect are more results and can you communicate? Can you speak up in meetings? Can you deal with other people? You need to demonstrate that and maybe even underplay your qualifications, because if you focus too much on your qualifications, that's just reinforcing their perception that you haven't adapted yet to what's important here. And that's partly why they ask for local experience, because it takes 1 or 2 years of working in locally for you to sort of get rid of that understanding and start speaking up in meetings, start solving problems for your boss rather than waiting for your boss to tell you what to do because you're afraid to upset your boss. Okay, so next one is, even if relevant role was earlier than a recent irrelevant role, should you put the most relevant role on top? Okay, it can vary, right? What I might do, because it may sort of show, remember, they've got to read it quickly and make an impression. If it's a huge gap, then what I would do is I would say it very briefly. So it's not relevant. So the last role, let's say, is here, right? Just make it short. And then the next role is here. And try to get the next role on the front page, okay? And you can explain it, say, whilst studying, maybe, right? So I had a person who asked about, well, they were driving Uber or delivering food, right? Just put it in, and while studying. To me, it's actually a plus, right? Because I know that person's gone out of their way to try to find some income, had to communicate with people, had to work, and it was tougher for them, right? So it might not be relevant experience, but it was in a way, right? I would rather always see experience whilst they were studying than no experience, because I also know culturally they're going to be a problem if they've done nothing else but study and had no experience, especially locally. Okay, so just keep it short. Make sure that the relevant experience is highlighted in the first page. You can even play with fonts, make it small, and then make this font bigger, right? Big font down here, right? So you just see that, yeah? So that's what I would do. So where can you find free online courses related to finance and add some weighting to your resume? I'll be honest, look for them. Most people, yes, just find them. I don't know, there's a lot free. I mean, there's plenty of stuff free. Is it useful or not? Udemy, I know, often have specials. I'm going to release a course on Udemy soon, but they often have specials, so you only pay like $15. Okay, so that's useful, but it's not necessarily that people think it's fantastic, right? It's not going to hold a lot of weight unless you don't have finance experience. Okay, so find something which is practical. Excel experience or experience with certain software is more valuable than theoretical finance experience. In my degree, I did an honors degree in economics. I basically used nothing, especially year 2, 3, 4. I used nothing of my whole degree. And your manager has probably had the same experience, right? They're hiring someone with a degree because they know they're smart and they're committed to that area, but they know that you've really not learned nothing terribly useful for the job, okay? All right, so how much grades are important in Australia for masters? Do recruiters and HR managers consider good grades of masters? Some of the larger companies, they may have a little bit more respect. What I found is if someone's got good grades at a good university, they're probably smarter. But I also know that they probably learn nothing useful. So in Australia, after the first job, nobody ever cared what grade I got. Nobody even ever cared what degree I got. Right? Maybe they saw it, never came up in interviews. My degree was economics, completely useless to whatever else I did. I know it can be upsetting that you spent all this money on the degree, but this is where I guess the academic system and the Western English-speaking society can differ from the Asian, the Indian societies. We really don't care that much. So if you've got good grades, highlight it, but I'd like to see the balance. So if you've got good grades, I know you're smart, but if you've done nothing else but study, then I know that you're probably going to lack communication skills, you're going to lack some team skills, you're not going to, even if you if you've gone out and partied, I'm probably going to respect that more because you're going to have some social skills. Some of those cultures tend not to indulge a lot in social activities that they might frown upon it. So in Australia, we like to see teams activity, team sports. They took initiative in something. All right, so if there's no more questions, what I might do is I'm going to hand back to Dinka. Dinka, are you there? Or does anyone else want to say anything?
I'm here.
Yeah. So
if you have any specific questions for me or Dick, you can feel free to ask as well. And at the same time, I want to tell everybody, Student Job Australia, we doing different activities, and so our next seminar, because of this situation, we couldn't organize the employability workshop, but definitely we are planning to organize students and employers connectivity programs, so you can directly interact with the potential employers who are willing to hire international students. And we have so many things in our pipeline agendas, so definitely we'll bring some activities. One thing, if I forgot to share one information, I'm gonna quickly show you. So this is our websites. Let me share. So this is the website for Student Job Australia. Right now we have some jobs available in healthcare area, healthcare sector. So you can see some job, but we definitely, because of the situation, it's just, we couldn't communicate with some other different organization, but we'll post some other job in IT and accounting as well. And we'll share with you guys as well through through the LinkedIn and through the other social channels. So you feel free to connect with us through the LinkedIn, through the Facebook page as well, and and you can, you know, I mean, we'll share you up-to-date information. Now, if you have any specific questions, you can feel free to ask. Let me check here. Oh no, stop sharing now. Okay, please ask any specific questions if you have.
Yes.
I can see
So if you
here.
have any more questions, we're here to answer. I put the websites of all three of us up here. Studentjob.com.au, cisa.edu.au, and my one, which is Job Search Professional Skills. I'll be posting tips and stuff up on there as well.
So where I can find free online courses related to finance, that will add some.
I think I already answered that one.
Okay, so that's fine. So
scroll down.
and regarding LinkedIn, you know, I was talking about it as well, because LinkedIn is offering the free course. You can go to the e-learning from LinkedIn, and I mean, free course means you can use 1 month free trial account, and you can use as a trial, and you can do that as well. Or I mean, definitely, then they will charge you monthly basis, but you can use trial account at the moment, and if you feel like, you know, a really good investment, $50 per month, then you can think about committing as well. So other than that, I can show you one other website I can recommend you is this one.
Yes, I think also there was I think owner, I'm not sure who owner is, but the question was, the Australian HR recruiter, do they care about India experience? The answer is we care about experience, but we also care about the balance. So I'll give you a quick example. I worked with a very large company. I had a whole floor of IT people, was in a different building, had 3,000 people in the head office. I did a project there, and I went looking for the IT sort of manager who was in the meeting with. And I looked at the whole floor. Everyone was Indian and sort of maybe Pakistan, Nepalese. But the problem was I looked at them, and I could tell that if one of them just decided to dress a little bit better and maybe present themselves in a different way, that person would become the next manager. And I found 2 people who were in the meetings that I sat with the manager, and I asked where the manager was. But the thing was, I'd struggled to understand them, and I think they never even spoke up in meetings. So part of the cultural factors is not speaking up in meetings, not trying to solve problems proactively, not taking that initiative. So I think that initiative is the part which can be missing, because those cultures might penalize people for speaking up and doing stuff before their boss asks for them, and doing stuff outside. In Australia, we probably want that initiative. We want you to make some mistakes. We want you to solve problems. Okay, sorry, Dinka, you wanted to show more.
Okay, that's fine. So I can see other questions coming from Jiakin. It says, hi, this is the first point of qualification in a job. Proven research and analysis skills. 4 years of research experience is highly desirable. I guess the master's degree is not enough. I personally think it's a bit vague. And how do applicants prove that they are capable to apply for this job? So, would you like to answer this one? So, see, I mean,
so say again. I'm looking at the Q&A. There's some Q&A questions in there, which I think some were answered.
How do applicants prove that they are capable to apply for this job, having just qualification?
Okay, for 2 to 4 years research is highly desirable.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any in your degree? I think, and often they did. I mean, you got to remember they ask these for a reason. They don't ask it because because they want to cut people out. So you need to probably still show that you have some research skills and experience, and that could be in part of your degree. And often degrees have that research experience. And that's why I would show it. If you don't have it, it's a little bit like asking, well, do you know this software or not? Well, if you don't, then you can't get the job. So it is, that's the person that they do want. So it may be that you can't apply. I would apply anyway. If you have any sort of research experience, it may be that other people don't, and you'll still get an interview, or maybe they have a different position for you. Maybe that would work up to that position. I'm looking also, so that person also asked in the Q&A. So and another anonymous attendee asked, can you please tell something about graduate roles without experience? How much a grade is important for masters? That was asked. I have 4 years experience back in India. Should I put them in for part-time work and seek full-time employment? Look, you seek whatever employment that you want. In your resume, even if there's part-time work, it's good. It's experience. I'll give you an example. My graduate role, I did for 4 and a bit years. I left that, applied for 3 jobs, and I got 3 offers, which were all paying up to 50% more. I rejected all those offers, right? I instead did some short contracts. I did a 6-week contract, a 3-week contract, a 6-week contract, and then a 2-month contract, I think. At the end of that, I got an offer for a job which was paying 2.5 times more than I was getting when I left that job after 4 and a bit years, right? So even though there was only a few months between that, those roles added up to a lot more experience on paper, and I could sell myself into that. Now, obviously you have to still sell yourself, and there's all sorts of skills, and I felt I was very good at interviews by then. But on paper, that diversity matters. So I would go for whatever job that you can get, especially if it's relevant and it looks like it's going to be a good option for you. And answer the graduate roles without experience. Graduate roles know that you've got no experience, but what you want is some little bit more life experience or skills experience. As I mentioned, the degree stuff is not really considered experience. In fact, it can be slightly negative if you just focus on a degree. So I would find things which have, even working in a shop, takeaway shop, especially if you can, serve customers speaking English, dealt with different types of people. Uber is probably not a bad thing either, right? Because you're talking with different customers. Food delivery might be not so great, but also joining clubs at universities. I would find some of these associations to join, get roles in them. Toastmasters is a good one. They'll give you roles if you want them. You can become treasurer or, become vice president of membership, and then just do some stuff. And it looks like you've done things, you've focused outside of what you've just normally done. And if you're interested, I just put it in the chat box. My email is for student jobs people and CISA members as well. So once I release it, I'll give you a special rate on it. It's targeted for international students. If you want, just go to my website as well. I think CISA's website, the CISA email is education@cisa.edu.au. And I think I also got a video tip here. If you're interested, just go to that website, Job Search Professional Skills. I got a video here that helps you teach you how to sell yourself. So it teaches you how do you stand out above people who might be more qualified and have more experience than you. Okay, so this will teach you how to do it on a resume and also how to teach you how to do it in an interview as well. So just have a look at that. That's just a free thing on my website that you can go through. I'm going to continue writing articles for people to help you on that as well on my website. Okay, so any other, Cassandra, would you like to say anything? Dinka, any final words?
Finally, I want to thank everybody, all the participants who participated for this event, and Kosun, Domi, and plus Dick as well, your contribution for this webinar. And
so I think there's a final question somebody wrote. As you said, how can you approach these companies that don't have a current listing related to a specific job? You approach the HR area. You may approach the department directly, but HR area is probably more likely to just sort of put you on file. Just have a chat with them, show you interest. HR people are fluffy, sort of feely people. So if they like you, they'll put you on file, just keep in touch every month, maybe pick up the phone a little bit. Just say, oh, just have an excuse to send them something. Oh, I just updated my resume slightly. I'm just following up. Because you see, a person stays in a job for 2 years. If there are 4 roles in a company that you could do, the likelihood is every 6 months, there's a new opening that you could do. And if you're on file there, and if they remember you, suddenly they'll call you first rather than go to the market or even list internally. As long as you kept a good relationship, as long as you kept in touch with them so they remember you. That's the way I would do it for there. And what they find statistically is instead of 250, you're competing with around 32 applications. 32 resumes gets a job in that manner rather than 250 plus. So your chance, it's still not as easy, not perfect. You have to match the requirements, but you're only competing against 32 other people is what I'm saying when you do that. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you again. Thank you, Hannah. And on behalf of myself, Dinka, you'd like to say goodbye? Anyone else like to say goodbye? I think we exhaust our questions. We've probably gone a bit over time. So, Dinka, would you like to close it off?
Okay. So finally, thanks for joining us for this event, and we definitely hopefully bring more activities, more webinars soon. And we'll send you email for today's event, and plus Dick, you would like to send your information as well, so you can include that as well.
Yes. And if you want to tell us about what you'd like to hear about next, just type in the chat box there, what areas you're interested in our next seminar to be on as well.
Okay, yeah, you can also let us know if you want to know about any specific topic to be covered for the next event, and we're happy to talk about that specific area, and we can focus on those topics. So we're happy to discuss. Please let us know. And so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank
great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.